They're similar in that respect. If you have a speed guy on one side of the field, you got Alshon Jeffery on the other side of the field, boy, you're set up nicely for like the next 5 years, right? At which point Alshon Jeffery will be the age Brandon Marshall is now. If you have two similar players, even if you like Marshall more, but they're similar, and one guy is 5 years younger, who are you going to take? Particularly when, guys, we know how it's going to work. There will be a bidding war for these guys' services because it may not be the most intense of all time, but there will be multiple teams offering money for these guys because whatever the number said last year, we have eyeballs. We know they're both good. Imagine Brandon Marshall up in New England. I mean, so they can both play. And when you have that situation, the more years you can give a guy, the better it is for your cap situation because you can prorate that money out. It's a bonus, is really the guarantee. So who do you want? The guy with the longer future, where it's less of a cap hit, or the guy with a shorter future, if you have to pay him the same, where it's more of a cap hit because he's not going to be as good for as many years? Give me the guy, if they're similar, give me the guy 5 years younger, no-brainer.
No, I respectfully disagree, and here's for a couple of reasons. Number one, both of these guys are going to be looking to be in a better situation. Remember, Alshon Jeffery, he hasn't had a 1,000-yard season since Brandon Marshall returned. Over the last 3 years, he's in Chicago. They've won 5, 6, and 3 games last year, okay? So you're talking about 5, 6, and 3 games. He's won 14 games in 3 years, whereas the New England Patriots just won 14 and 2. They're both going to be looking to be in big-time situations where they can position themselves for titles. When we look at it from that perspective, it's not about the longevity picture, all right? It's not about the marathon, it's about the sprint. I'm going to go with the experience of Brandon Marshall. I like Brandon Marshall's experience. I think he's a better receiver. More importantly, I think he wants it a little bit more, whereas Alshon Jeffery wants the money. I'm not going to hold too much against Alshon Jeffery because obviously Jay Cutler was his quarterback. And with Jay Cutler as your quarterback, my sympathies and condolences to you. He never had a chance anyway, so I do get that point. But in the end, I still have to look at Brandon Marshall from that perspective. Not to mention the fact that Alshon Jeffery has missed about 11 games the last 2 years. Durability is a question mark when it comes to him. That want-it mentality, yeah, he says the right things, but I'm not sure I see that in his game. I'm not questioning his skills. I am questioning at times his desire, but I'm not sure about it because, again, if I were playing with Jay Cutler, I'd be depressed half the time my damn self. So I can't hold it against him too much, but I would just say to you, I'm still going with the experience that is Brandon Marshall over the younger Alshon Jeffery because longevity doesn't really matter.
I'm taking Brandon Marshall on this fact of this. If it's a short-term fix, I'm looking for Brandon Marshall, a team that's on the cusp of winning the championship. You bring in Brandon Marshall, but he has to be surrounded by veteran players and a good locker room that can handle the type of mentality you have with Brandon Marshall. So I'm going with him on a short-term basis. The jury's still out for me on Alshon Jeffery. I don't think it's all about the winning for him. It's about the money. I think you were right on the point. It's about the money, getting paid, getting in a better situation to take care of his family. But in the end, being at 27 years old, he's been banged up the last couple of years. He's a guy that doesn't create separation. I mean, he makes good plays as far as going up and getting the ball, but he doesn't create at the line of scrimmage as far as separation. So you're going to have a quarterback that can throw in spots to him. There's a lot more work and more upside when you have to deal with Alshon Jeffery. And to me,
agree.
He's never proven to be a number one guy. I mean, you know what you have in Brandon Marshall. You have a number one guy, but I don't know if Alshon has been that guy who can carry his team as a number one receiver.
When they were together, sometimes it was hard to tell who was better. And
That's
by the way,
not true.
Brandon Marshall, you mentioned.
Brandon Marshall was getting doubled. I mean, of course you're going to go.
That's right. Brandon
the
Marshall was clearly better.
Poor Brandon Marshall, the best quarterback he ever played with was Jay Cutler, Stephen A. Look, if you're talking about the who would you just put them both on a scale, who weighs more in terms of value? Yes, I agree, Brandon Marshall, but there's more to it than that. If a team like New England got Brandon Marshall on the right kind of deal, that's one thing. But assuming there will be bidding for them, assuming we're talking about sizable contracts here over years and the attendant kind of cap issue that comes with that, I believe that Alshon Jeffery is not only the better deal, but over the next 5 years has a very good chance to be the better player. And at the end of that 5-year period, again, he'll be Brandon Marshall's age now.
Whatever receiver you're thinking about getting, it ain't for the next 5 years. It's for the next 2 to 3 years max. That's number one. And number two, let me tell you something, Max, right now. You could say Jay Cutler was the best quarterback Brandon Marshall ever played with, but not this past season. The season before last, Ryan Fitzpatrick was better than Jay Cutler has ever been, as far as I'm concerned.
I don't think
2 years ago.
I mean,
2 years ago.
They're comparable.
2 years ago, yes.
2 years ago. 2 years ago, Fitzpatrick was okay. He was like league average, maybe.
And that's a hell of a lot. You're not getting my point. That's a hell of a lot better than Jay Cutler's ever been. That's my point.
Jay Cutler had a couple seasons at least that good. At least that good.
Stephen A., I want to spin it forward. I know these guys want to go to contenders, but we have teams like the Bucks, Rams, Titans, Niners. They're all in need of a receiver. What do you think would be good potential fits for a Brandon Marshall or an Alshon Jeffery?
I like an Alshon Jeffery in Tampa because there are no title expectations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with Evans in the crew, with Jameis Winston throwing the football, having an additional weapon at wideout, somebody that has the long term, that you got a long-term view with. I like that possibility for him. With Brandon Marshall, I'm thinking Pittsburgh. I'm thinking New England. I'm thinking spots like that, to be quite honest with you. Even Oakland, if he could find his way there. I like a Brandon Marshall in a situation like that.
Yeah, I can see Brandon Marshall. Again, a veteran team that's on the cusp with the New England Patriots type of team. Hey, listen, even here we go with the Cowboys, but even a number 2 position with the Cowboys. I mean, you can find some spots for Brandon Marshall, but he's not going to go to a team where it's in a rebuilding process. The kid wants to win a Super Bowl. He hasn't even won a playoff game. So he's trying to – don't start. But anyways, he's trying to get some –
and you suggest the Cowboys and
Darren
Woodson. You set yourself up. Teed it up.
Darren Woodson just sat up there and said he's never had a playoff win. He's never won a playoff game, but he needs to go to the Cowboys.
I teed that one up for you.
That's funny.
But when you look at Brandon Marshall, this is a guy that he hasn't won a playoff game. He's trying to get to the ultimate.
Then he don't need to go to Dallas.
But
he don't need to go to Dallas.
I'm not even saying just Dallas. I'm saying there's teams that are out there that deserve that number 2 guy. That he can be that guy. But again, Alshon Jeffery is going to be about the money. I see a team like the Tennessee Titans or a team that run the ball and they need a deep threat at the end. I think
good offensive
Rams,
line.
Niners, there's a lot of them.
I will say this. Let me be very, very clear. I'm good with my man Brandon Marshall. That's my brother. Just spoke to him a few minutes ago. If he goes to the Dallas Cowboys, I'll never speak to him again.
Yes, you will.
I'll never speak to him again.
Will.
I will never speak to him again.
When he has that ring on his finger, you'll be speaking to him.
Ring. What? A wedding ring? He's married already. He don't need a. You damn sure ain't talking.